now we move to Tim, more exotic maybe, to Colombia and Nicaragua, the largest landholder or exploration landholder, title holder in Nicaragua. Maybe one teaser is they drilled a hole at Luna Arroya of 65 meters of 6.9 grams of gold. So maybe with that one, I'll leave to you. And you sold half of it.
We sold half. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for attending. In interesting times, not the first interesting times I've been through, and I know many of us here in this audience are familiar with this particular state of the market, and I think we're all optimistic that things will recover, perhaps slightly differently. But in any case, what I want to do is kind of go through this quickly, and then, assuming there are questions, leave plenty of time for questions, because we can get buried down very quickly in what Royal Road does. We do the traditional style of exploration, which means that we do have the largest land package in Colombia and also in Nicaragua. We have several, well, more than several. We have dozens of projects that are moving up through a drill preparation pyramid, if you like. And in fact, we're drilling 6 projects this year. So I really have to trim this down to the things that are of immediate interest and try and get the concept through to you. So what we're trying to do is make exploration a business. And that means not coming back to the market all the time. And that also means that our ESG component, which is a large component given some of the environments in which we operate, also has to be its own business. So if I can get that message across to you, as well as some of the exciting results, and then invite myself for questions, then I'm happy. So just quickly, Nicaragua and Colombia, we staked our own ground. We purchased 2 companies. We purchased a company called Casa Gold in Nicaragua. We purchased Anglo Gold Ashanti's offshore exploration companies in Colombia, which held all of their exploration assets, and hence that's why we've become a fairly significant landowner. And so just in terms of that model, and this is a very simplistic diagram. In fact, we use something which is so complicated and almost too difficult to communicate, so hence this one. But essentially what we're trying to do is make discoveries, like new discoveries, move them up through this pyramid, either sell them on as we did with Luna Roja, and in fact we spent about $2 million on that and sold it for $22.5 million US dollars and a 1.25% royalty. There are other projects in that portfolio that are heading along that particular track as well, whilst we're focused on finding real game changers, and that's copper gold. So yeah, as David Finch mentioned this morning, and I thought that was a fascinating presentation, one of the issues with our industry are these small mine life, seven-year-long gold mines, which are really not easy to sell to governments and communities, and especially in some of the environments in which we operate. And so large copper gold assets really are our target, and on the way, smaller assets that we can help finance, we can sell for cash and royalties, or even joint venture with local communities, which is some of the stuff that we've been doing in Colombia. Okay, this is a sort of a takeaway slide. There's the only couple of things I would like to point out here is Agnico Eagle, who came in 2 financings actually, when we originally financed with Barrick, and then more recently, and so they own about 18% of the company. Okay, 2 projects, and I'm just going to talk about these because they're sort of the most advanced at this point in time, moving along towards resource. This is essentially a copper soil grid and some drilling, including some RAB and gold results. Basically, just to focus your attention on some of the drilling results. And that latest one there was 207 meters at 1.1. It's a large oxide resource, completely new discovery made by us out in northeastern Nicaragua. We think there's a porphyry underneath it. We've got good reason to think that. You can ask me later why. But we've got 2 rigs on that currently in Nicaragua. Guinta Nivarengo is in Colombia. This is looking pretty exciting for a deep porphyry target. Well, it's actually from surface in some places. What we're hitting at the moment are digits of porphyry that have returned, those sort of results, 303.7 meters at 1.1 grams gold, with some good sort of significant internal intersections of copper and gold. We really like this one because it's got a massive sort of 10 square kilometer footprint of about 0.2 grams gold and copper. So 1 rig on that at the moment. And I just dropped that in to show you that we are not smearing. The grade goes right down these holes, and you can, if you look carefully, and again we can talk about it later if you like, you can see some much higher grade sections which are related to one particular generation of that porphyry body. We are explorers, I've made that point, I think, and so along the pipeline, Margaritas is a project in Colombia. It's a gold project that we're drilling this year. Like I said, we won't be drilling this year. These are Colombian projects. And El Molino is quite an interesting project that has caught the attention of many in the past who haven't been able to get very far because of a belligerent community there that belligerent is the word, believe me, that we've managed to deal with. And we're starting to move that project along as well in Colombia. So Oro Fino, we will be drilling in Nicaragua this year, Nueva America, and Bambanita, all three of those projects. Bambanita is a skarn, Nueva America is a shear zone. You can see some of the results there. And Oro Fino is a strata-bound breccia which runs up to 188 grams gold across 2-meter channel samples. So some interesting drilling coming along the way. And a bunch of grassroots districts which we are actually rationalising. So these are regions in which we hold a lot of title. There's about 35 projects I could put on that triangle that we're moving up to development stage or getting rid of, dropping completely, or selling, or joint venturing to local communities, or trading out for royalties. And then just quickly in terms of our ESG, this is strategic for us. So, and we've done this. I think in any case we've been pretty good in terms of developing innovative solutions or ways and means of engaging community for many years, again, because it's an integral part of operating in countries like Colombia and Nicaragua. And to the extent that as soon as, that interest in ESG investment escalated last year, we won 3 awards, 2 particularly for our accelerator initiative, one at Mines and Money, one at the Gold Conference in Colombia, and also one from the government of Colombia. And we're members of Prince Charles's Terra Carta, which is his sustainable markets initiative. And so there's a bunch of emblematic projects, but I really just want to go through our carbon footprint, of course. We're one of 50 companies committed to in Colombia to being carbon neutral by the end of the year. Just in terms of these accelerator projects and what's different about this, and again coming back to this theme of trying to make our business, our business a business and not going back to the market all the time. The same goes for our community initiatives. We're not a producer. We do have intermittent kind of cash flow when we sell an asset, but we don't have the consistency to be able to support ongoing community initiatives. And so what we do through the accelerator, and this is, as I say, this is the one that won most of those awards, is we identify projects that are really scalable, that are innovative, and that we can then seed finance and bring in new investors and sort of move that community through to actually developing their own business. And so we've done that with various projects, some of which are on there. One very, very exciting one that we're working on right now is not on there because it's going through patent applications. But it is a really neat way. And in fact, a couple of these projects are on, these accelerator projects, are on exploration projects that we've since left, which is even more of I think, an enticing message to communities that we're not interested, but we've left you this. That's the board. I won't go through that in any detail. That's the capital structure. We've got about 26 million Canadian in cash. As you can see, Agnico, our largest shareholder, Mackenzie, many of you will be familiar with. That's, I think, still Canada's largest mutual fund, US Global. And there's about 10 institutions on the register, and so we're about 65% insider and institutionally held. So that's us, and I would welcome any questions. Yes?
Hey, Tim. Have you had any attention from so-called ESG or impact funds, given the wide sort of spread of your activities?
No, not really. We see some of them turning up at conferences like this, but I just don't think they're there yet for us in respect of exploration. There's one fund that's been tracking us, and we do meet with them, or tracking performance, if you like. We do meet with them every now and then, but there's been no real solid interest. We're hoping it's coming.
Yeah, what do you think will get them over the line? It's a big question for us all, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is a big question for us all. I'm expecting that their own shareholders are going to push them over the line and it's probably just a time-related thing. So it's demographics, and I think it comes back really to that whole, their shareholders are likely to be more generalist than most. Than some of the funds that we're more familiar with and some that are on our register. So, I think they need to see that large market correction, money to come out of those, overvalued, non-profitable businesses that we're all well aware of and back into the growth sector. And then I think they'll be forced to look at us. I think ESG is easy if you're building electric cars. That's it.
Any other questions? We still have 5 minutes.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit more about the accelerator? And I don't understand exactly. Is that something you're associated with, or is it actually inside of Royal Road, or how does that?
Yeah,
what's the relationship there? Is it owned by you? Or?
Yeah, it's a 100% owned sub of Royal Road, and then under that, it owns initially 100%, or some of the founders and some of our staff and local community will own some shares initially of the business it's incubating, such as Bioma and the Amaral projects. And then eventually we're not in it to make money. Royal Road will dilute. We're there to leave that positive social impact. We'll dilute and we'll bring new investors in. So it goes through the normal process. Those small businesses go through a normal process of friends and family rounds, just quickly. And then through to having a more diversified and significant sort of shareholder base. So Chloris is now that was a CBD project in southern Colombia in which we employed displaced people. There's 7 million internally displaced people in Colombia, conflict displaced. Ex-guerrillas, that's now got about 85 shareholders and is looking at an IPO in Canada. The one that's not on there is the one that we're moving through patents at the moment, but that's just on a normal friends and family round. It's got about 15 or 20 initial shareholders, including some funds out of Canada who are more interested in that stuff than mining. And then they just go through the normal process. And the accelerator just eventually dilutes.
Maybe last question from my side. Mm-hmm. Why these two countries?
The prospectivity and potential. Yeah. I think Colombia is obvious. Nicaragua, perhaps not so much. And I'd have to say it was a surprise to me, but it is without a doubt. And geologically, we don't know why, because basically the research base doesn't exist. But massively prospective for copper and gold. So where we are in northeastern Nicaragua, we're literally surrounded by Rio Tinto, Caribe joint venture claims. And Rio visited our projects twice over there in Nicaragua. And I don't think they were much better than anyone else at exploration, but I think the point is that they've identified the copper porphyry potential. That's really their interest in Nicaragua.
And going forward, you stay in these two?
Yeah, I think for now, some shareholders have argued for a third leg to the stool. And so we are always considering, other environments, but we really have our hands full. There's plenty of projects that we're working through here.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.